You are watching the channel Forbidden Files. Today we are discussing the Baghdad Battery, a clay pot from 250 BC that actually generates electricity. This is a clay pot. It is about the size of your fist. It was found in Iraq and it is roughly 2000 years old. By itself it looks completely unremarkable, something you might find in any museum of ancient history. But watch, what happens when we fill it with liquid? It generates electricity. This clay pot, made in 250 BC, produces a genuine electric current. Centuries before electricity was officially invented. Centuries before anyone was supposed to know this was even possible. And nobody, even today, can fully explain why it exists. The year was 1938. German archaeologist Wilhelm Koenig was sorting through a storage room at the National Museum of Iraq in Baghdad. He found a small clay jar that had been sitting in a box largely ignored since it was dug up from the village of Kujutrabu a few years earlier. Inside the jar was a copper cylinder. Inside that cylinder was an iron rod. The whole assembly was sealed with asphalt. Koenig started at it for a long time because he recognized the structure immediately. He had seen something like it before in a modern physics classroom. What he was looking at was not a storage jar. It was not a religious artifact. It was not a perfume container. It was a battery. To understand why this is so strange, let's quickly understand how a battery works. A battery needs three things: two different metals, a liquid that conducts electricity called an electrolyte, and those two metals must not directly touch each other. When those three things come together, electron starts to flow. That flow of electron is electricity. Now look at the Baghdad Battery again. Two different metals, copper cylinder on the outside, iron rod on the inside. Two metals don't touch. There is a gap between the copper and the iron. Electrolyte liquid. The jar could be filled with vinegar, lemon juice or grape juice. All common in ancient Iraq. It matches a battery design perfectly, not approximately, not vaguely, perfectly. And this in 1940, scientist Willard Gray built an exact replica of the Baghdad Battery. He filled it with a grape juice and produced 1.1 volts of electricity. In 2003, the popular science show Mythbusters built 10 replicas. Linked together, they produce enough current to give a small electric shock. The Baghdad Battery works. This has been demonstrated by many times. Here is why this is so deeply unsettling to historians. Alessandro Volta invented the first recognized battery in 1800 AD. That is the date every textbook gives for the discovery of electricity storage. The Baghdad Battery is dated to somewhere between 250 BC and 224 AD. That means it predicts the official invention of the battery by at least 1600 years. But it gets stranger. Koenig didn't find one Baghdad Battery, he found several at the same site. All with the same internal structure. This was not a one-off accident or a freak coincidence. German researcher Arne Egerprecht claimed in 1978 that he used a replica Baghdad Battery to electroplate a silver statue with gold, a thin, every coating of one metal over another. Electroplating requires electric current, and thin, even gold coatings have been found on ancient Egyptian and Mesopotamian artifacts that modern scientists cannot fully explain through conventional method. When you invent something new, your first version is always clumsy, rough, experimental. The Baghdad Battery is not clumsy. Its internal proportions, the size of the gap between metals, the gauge of the iron rod are close to optimized, which suggests it was not a first attempt. It was a refined version of something developed over time. So if it works, what did ancient people actually use it for? The honest answer is nobody knows. But there are three leading theories, and all of them are fascinating. Theory number one is about electroplating jewelry and religious objects. Theory number two is a medical or religious use. And theory number three, it was accidental. The most skeptical theory, the jars were simply used to store acidic liquids like wine or vinegar. The electric effect was a coincidence and accident of the materials used. Nobody who made or used them knew they were generating electricity. The problem with this theory is the refined internal design. Accidents don't optimize themselves. Here is the question that this object really asks us. We assume that human knowledge moves in one direction, always forward, always building, always progressing. But the Baghdad Battery suggests something more uncomfortable. What if certain discoveries were made and then lost? The Library of Alexandria burned. Entire civilizations collapsed. The Bronze Age ended so suddenly that almost every advanced culture in the Mediterranean vanished with decades. We have no idea what knowledge existed and was destroyed. We have no idea how many times human beings have discovered something extraordinary and then lost it. The Baghdad Battery is not just a curiosity. It is evidence that our picture of human history may have enormous blank spaces in it. Blank spaces we have barely begun to look into. The Baghdad Battery currently sits in the Iraq Museum in Baghdad. It is small, quiet, unremarkable looking. Most visitors walk right past it. But inside that clay pot is a question that 2000 years of history has not answered. Who built it? What did they use it for? How did they know? And if ancient people in 250 BC could figure out how to generate electricity, what else did they figure out? And that we simply have not found yet. If this made you question what you were taught in school, subscribe and follow. Every file we open rewrites something. Something big, something mysterious, and we have 20 more waiting. Take care and see you in next